Hello,
Hello.
and welcome to Planet Marzipan, the Fish and Marillion podcast. I'm Mezza, and here's my mate.
Craig Houston.
Hello, welcome to Planet Marzipan. I'm Mezza, I'm here with my good friend.
Craig.
And we have a Planet Marzipan Meets episode. We welcome back to the podcast Stephanie Bradley.
Good evening.
Hello, how the
Or
devil are
good
you?
whatever time of day it is that you happen to be listening to this.
Are you well?
I was going to say, to be fair, loads of people are about 7 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday on the way to work. So, good morning,
No,
everyone.
it means I've told them that it's 5 p.m. somewhere, so they're allowed to have a drink.
Too right, yeah.
How are you? Are you well?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good. How was your Christmas?
Christmas was okay actually. It just seemed to go past very quickly. So we went away for Christmas to a lovely hotel down in Studland Bay. It's all an area of a national trust, just between you go over on this chain ferry from Swanage,
Nice.
and it's like stepping back in history actually. It's a great place. It's called the Knoll House Hotel, and it's where Enid Blyton was for a long time, where she wrote a lot of the Five Go Mad in Dorset stories, and you feel very much like you sort of step back in history, and it's all very Jurassic around there with all the peat bogs at the back, and and the beaches are amazing. It's so unspoilt, beautiful sandy beaches. It's all like a protected bay, and I went in the sea on Boxing Day.
Are you mad?
I have to be fair, I had just been in a sauna on the beach, which is about the only way at that time of year I would go in the sea. So I came, I was boiling hot. I literally ran into the sea, cooled down enough, ran back straight into the sauna again.
Wow. Okay. Well, it sounds like you had a great time.
It was great. It was great. Thank you. Were your, how were your Christmases?
Yeah, quiet. Quiet with the family. We unfortunately we had a funeral in between Christmas and New Year.
Oh,
A strange time, but we had a nice time with the family, which was great. How was yours, Craig?
Well, we had a bereavement as well just before Christmas. So we all had a bit of it was an odd Christmas, but it was a very busy Christmas because in our house, because our house we live in what used to be my mum and dad's place. Because after they passed, we brought my sister out of it. So it's always traditionally where if we have parties or any kind of family get-togethers or going on, it all happens in our house. So as usual, on Christmas Day, I think it was about 15 of us. So it's never
great.
quiet.
Crazy. Well, this weekend I'm getting together with my brother and his kids, all the family.
All right.
That'd be nice at my nephew, who was just recently, there was some of you may have followed when I was posting on Facebook, for those of you who don't know, my nephew was paralyzed in a road accident. I think it was his second or third shift as a junior doctor, and he was cycling to work and someone knocked him off his bike, and he's a quadriplegic. This was back in 2018. In fact, I was in Buffalo on the US tour at the time, and it was all, he was in a coma for weeks and with terrible injuries, but he has made an amazing go of his life, really, and he's now happily married with a daughter. And but the main story that was in the Times, because he wrote a blog that was detailing all of his progress in recovery, and then they've just run a feature on it in the Times, just saying that the one thing that he wanted to do was to be able to walk down the aisle on his wedding day, which with the help of an exoskeleton, and the physiotherapist as well, he was able to do. So it's an amazing thing. And he's also retrained as a lawyer, and will be specializing in criminal injury cases, which of course he knows from the inside out. So
Wow.
it's a story of hope,
Massively. Yeah.
Dreadful thing to happen.
I hope you have a lovely weekend together.
Yeah, so we will. Be good to be together.
We've spoke a little bit before we started recording, so I mean, this is fairly low key compared with what you were doing last night, isn't it?
Yeah, last night was a big night out. So we're very lucky to be invited to the premiere of Cirque du Soleil productions at the Royal Albert Hall. Every year, the band and some of us were invited because the lovely gentleman, Olivier Boutin, which I've probably pronounced completely wrong.
You're in good company, Craig, regularly.
Yeah.
I usually mangles people's names and things.
Usually Dutch cities. Yeah, this is his speciality.
He's a massive Marillion fan, and I think he was the connection from Montreal with if you listen to the lyrics of Montreal about Cirque du Soleil. And so there's been an ongoing relationship with the band for many years, and he very kindly invites us all, and it's a very grand affair because we get to walk down the red carpet, which is very exciting, and the hospitality is exceptional. So there was lots of champagne, lots of canapes, lots of hobnobbing with the glitterati, and needless to say, my head is probably just a little bit worse for wear today. So
well, extra special thanks for being here. We're speaking of your head being a little bit somewhere else. We want to talk to you about 2025 because the work you did for Marillion, it was a pretty busy year, wasn't it?
It was a crazy year. And it started off the same way, actually, going to the premiere of Cirque du Soleil. Which I have to say, they're amazing shows, by the way. You should go because they are exceptional. But yeah, 9 Marillion weekends.
I know. Absolute madness. I was just jotting the dates down. I don't know why, but it never dawned on me that the Oslo and the Berlin ones were the week after each other.
They were. That was brutal. I have to say, especially at the end of the run, that was totally brutal because there was no time to recover in between them at all. So,
and then the first one obviously was Center Parcs in March.
Yes.
Which is I mean, you're busy at all of them, but that's probably your busiest role, isn't it?
That is definitely my most manic out of them all. There's very little sleep. It's lots of running around, making sure really that, everyone's having the best possible time, because that's just what I want. People have come from a long way, spent a lot of money to be there, and place a great deal of importance on it. And I really just want to make sure that everybody has the best time possible. And, and I feel very responsible for that because there's so many pieces to the big puzzle, from putting everybody in the cottages where they want to be, so the right type of accommodation with the right people, with people that they don't necessarily know. So it's like the big matchmaking service. So yeah, there's a lot at stake, really. There's a lot to manage.
How did this one compare to previous ones?
That's really hard because there's so many things to compare, but all I can say is I just felt, it was very emotional because obviously we thought it was going to be the last one.
I mean, I don't quite know how to put what I'm about to say, but you were really busy as always, but you were less stressed. You appeared less stressed.
I think that after 9 times,
yeah,
what I'm doing now.
Yeah, Well,
So there should
that
be
means you
less
do what you're doing before, but yeah.
Yeah, there should be less to be stressed. There should be less to be stressed about. I mean, there's always unexpected things happen, you know, with people having accidents and being ill and you know and technical issues at centre parks and stuff. But that, you know, aside from all of that, I don't know. I guess maybe yeah, I know what I'm doing, and you know, and I have a great team of people. I have Steph, that they're being, you know, my right hand woman,
Yeah.
literally be in places when I can't be in two places at once. You know, and that makes a huge difference. So
And off the back of that, we then went into the sort of the 2-day weekends, most of them, weren't they? So Montreal was a couple of weeks later.
yeah, so it was yeah, Montreal was next, and Montreal's great because it's, you know, it's an adventure. It's lovely going on a, you know, a long haul journey, and I feel like I know Montreal so well. And it's a chance to see people that you don't get to see very often because they, you know, especially people over that side of the Atlantic and people in South America. So it's an absolute joy to see those people and to spend quality time. And because you know, it's still a 3-day event, there's enough time in it to do that. And obviously, you know, we travel quite a bit before and stay a bit afterwards. So it allows you time to do that. So, and again, it's, you know, it's a venue we've been to so many times. So it's a very oiled machine.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you walk in and everything's familiar, which is great, which generally makes it a lot easier. With all these weekends, they are really busy in themselves, but a lot of them I try to make the most of being somewhere and end up staying, adding some time on.
Yeah, having a holiday at the end. Yeah,
having a holiday at the end, and making the most of it. And after Montreal was no exception. I crossed over into America. Probably was a little bit more fraught than other times I've crossed the border, to stay with my dear friend Nikki. And so I had a few days with her, and then I had a bit of a mad couple of days at the end. And some of you will know that I'm a massive train buff, tubes, buses, underground and everything. And it just so happens that at the time I was staying in Connecticut, I do all the hidden London tours of the disused underground stations. Well, they do the same on the US subway. And there's the most amazing station called City Hall. In fact, the mayor of New York was just inaugurated in that station. And it's got the most beautiful tiles, chandeliers. It's absolutely surreal because you know, they run a special 6 train round, and you get off the train. If you stay, actually, if you stay on it, you can go around the loop and see it, but it just whizzes through it. But we got to go and have a tour of it, which was really special. So that was like a 36-hour detour to New York to do that, and to meet up with some friends that actually couldn't come to Montreal. So that was really good. And then I went on to Boston afterwards to see some other friends who equally hadn't been in Montreal. So some other expat friends. So it was like a 36-hour detour to New York, and then 24 hours in Boston, and then flew home, and then straight back into
Paris was
Paris. Yeah.
2 weeks later, wasn't it?
So
Yeah.
yeah, literally, I got back on the Monday, and then we flew to Paris on the Thursday. So it just doesn't really stop. It's like this roller coaster. And again, so Paris was interesting because that was a new one. So new weekends always throw up interesting challenges, not least the size of the merch booth.
Oh,
So from going, you know, having my trusty team in Montreal, I had I would say, some of my normal team that I have for the rest of the weekends. So Steph came to help me because not all of them were available. Nikki couldn't come over from the States for that. And actually, when we arrived and we saw the size of it, we were just like, that's not going to happen. I mean, it was like one of those small concession areas that you have in the front of the theatre.
is it a casino or something? Is its main function? Was it the venue?
It was, yeah, I guess I suppose it was a casino, but also a theatre as well, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, it's lovely. It's a beautiful building inside and out, really full of atmosphere. It's all sort of like dark red and But yeah, so we negotiated having the other concession booth at the side, and then I had to decide how we were going to split the two lots of merch to be in the two different areas, and then communicate all of that. But we're good at, I have a great team, particularly with Mike Hudson, he's a strategic organizer. He works on organizing all the cargo for United Airlines. So he's a great logistics man. And Steph was there to help me as well, and Richard. So we managed to work it out. So, and it actually worked out really well.
I was going to ask you, I mean, certainly the 3 that I did, people are in the habit, fans are in the habit now of going and queuing first off to get their merch for the weekend. Is that the same in all of the weekends?
It is. You have two, if it's a standing venue, you have the two queues, really, those that stand to get a good spot at the front, and then those that have either got seats or not bothered then queue for the merch. And in Montreal, the queue is legendary. It literally goes across, down the stairs, up round the stairs, all the way down to the front of the stage. I mean, it's insane. It's, I admire everyone's patience, and yeah, they're great, and we try to serve them all as quick as we can. So
I think everybody's pleased to see you when they get to the front of the queue, aren't they? So
yeah, I just wish I had more, I think the one thing I will say for all of these weekends, and I'll say it now at the beginning in case I forget at the end, is I see lots of people, but I don't get to spend very much time with them. Yeah. And that's always really hard. I do wish that I had more time to spend talking to so many people.
I think they understand. But Paris, you went to Girona?
Yes, again, another new one.
Mm.
So that was again a very different venue. It's a classical music venue. Quite an interesting piece of architecture. Large glass foyer, which always presents its problem because the sun comes up and you end up being in a bit of a greenhouse for part of the day, which is interesting to manage. Whereas it's a complete contrast for that, because that's like a good free area that we can make it as big as we like with the tables, which makes it so much easier. We have so many, we have so many boxes, and we look at, when we put all the boxes out at the beginning of the day, when we look at the areas, and we're just like, yeah, so how are we going to get all of that in there?
It's like a big game of Chinese checkers, isn't it?
It is.
Fit it all in. It's a big game of Tetris.
It's great satisfaction at the end of the day. We've actually managed to get it all in on time, because we're under time pressure as well, and making sure. And again, other complications of these ones is that the merchandise is manufactured in the country that we're going to, well, not even necessarily in the country, but certainly in Europe, and so it's shipped to us. So you're never quite sure if it's going to turn up, when it's going to turn up,
if it's right.
if it's right. It's all a bit like, and in between all of these as well, I'm having to plan all of the subsequent ones. It's not a sequential process.
Yeah.
So after PZ, we'd already made start on designs. Mark Kennedy's looking at all the designs, and we're deciding what merch we need, and you're having to order them in advance, and you're also having to guesstimate how much you're going to need and how much you think you're going to sell for the subsequent ones, so you don't end up having to get things remade too many times. It really is a logistical juggling.
That's it. It's getting the happy medium, isn't it, for not over ordering and ending up with say 500 shirts spare, and then under ordering because suddenly everybody and their granny decides that this particular designer t-shirt is an absolute must have. So I mean it's happened both ways, hasn't it?
It has, and I think I've got it down to pretty much right, that we don't end up having too much left over, and there's very few occasions where we sell out too early of the most popular sizes, but it's really hard to gauge. So
I think everybody, when they book their tickets for the weekends next time, they should actually put the shirt sizes into the application form, so everybody knows what sizes people are.
I mean, I keep all the spreadsheets that I have from previous weekends, and I go on the basis of what we sold in those places. But when they're new places like Paris and Girona, it is a bit of a guessing game. You know, you just have to work on the numbers of people that are there, but you can't really work out necessarily what size is going to be the most popular, and it's all a bit of a finger in the air.
Finger in the air.
But the thing that we did this year was, at least, you know, everything that was left over we put on sale at Racket, but Mark also put the designs up so that people that did miss out,
They can print their own,
then
can't they?
download, and then get it printed themselves on their own t-shirt. So,
Which was a nice idea.
but yeah, Girona, beautiful, beautiful city. Somewhere lovely to explore. Amazing food, lovely people. There's other things that we have to contend with. So, like, at the end of the day, they had live musicians in the foyer, which is lovely because everyone hangs around and mills around and everything, but makes it very difficult to serve merch when it's over 110 decibels. You can't hear what they're saying, and especially if they're not speaking in English and trying to understand in pidgin Spanish or whatever, it can make it just a little difficult. And then other adventures, it's all the adventures that happen at them and in between them. So after that, I decided to go into, which I was very glad I decided to do, rather than go back to Barcelona on the Monday to fly home later in the day. I got a very, very early train in the morning to Barcelona to go and hang out with Mark and Vanessa that were there, which was great because there was the power cut, the big power cut, where the whole of Spain and bits of Portugal and bits of France all went out. So at least I'd made it back to Girona, but it was very unnerving. You suddenly realize how dependent you are on your phone.
Yeah.
You know, and people don't have radios anymore. If they do, they're digital radios. So actually trying to find out information about what's really going on is quite difficult. It was interesting to see because Barcelona was quite chill. Once I'd actually managed to meet up with Mark and Vanessa again, because they'd gone into the park early because my time slot was different to theirs. And then we just said, oh, we'll track each other on our phones. And then the power went out. So that went out the window. So we were sort of like wandering around, where are you? On a massive, great big, Park Güell. Somehow or other, we managed to bump into each other. You just realize that there's just no information. And I was thinking, well, how do I get back to the airport? What do I do? So we walked back to their hotel. Then we had to walk up the 9 floors to retrieve my bags that were in their room. I was so glad that I'd not put it in the left luggage lockers, because either they would have stayed shut or automatically opened. Yeah, who knows? But yes, I was able to retrieve my luggage from then, and I had cash with me, which was the most important thing, because fortunately there were still some taxis going around, because I'm thinking, they're going to run out of fuel, both electric or gasoline. And so I was looking out for taxi, and when I came back down to the lobby, Vanessa had been speaking to this English couple, who, the lady of which she was about 6 months pregnant, but they had no cash. They couldn't get back to the airport. And I said, right, come with me. And went outside the hotel, and there was a taxi on the other side of the road. And I dumped the bags and I'm running to get that taxi, ran over. And I said, look, can you take us to the airport? And he said, oh, have you got cash? And I said, I have. And I'm thinking that, how much is this going to cost? And how much is it? And he said, oh, it's $49, which is exactly what it was, because you put it on the meter, so it didn't even get ripped off. So got us all safely to the airport and flew home without any issue. But apparently Madrid airport was complete chaos, because their power didn't come back until quite some time afterwards. But the whole reliance on your phone is
scary, isn't it?
Startling.
It is. I mean,
my advice to you is take cash. As we say, cash is king.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because everywhere I've been lately, with like on a plane or on a train or anything, it's always been on your phone. So your tickets are on your phone, any passes and things, just boarding passes and everything on your phone. And we're so reliant on the digital world now.
Yeah.
Well, it's a big thing for gig tickets, isn't it? Now, I really still don't like electronic gig tickets.
Yeah, because you know very well as soon as you get close to the venue, your phone fails
I'm getting flashbacks to Roundhouse.
every time.
Completely. And the cheek of that now, you can buy a souvenir ticket of the
Yeah.
ticket that you've already bought for, it's like an extra, I've seen some of them for £10. I
Yeah.
mean,
But that doesn't appear until about 3 months after the gig.
it's insane. I'm buying up a souvenir piece of paper of something that I've already paid an arm and a leg for. It's just
Well, yes. Let's
great.
not go down that route. From Girona,
Realize madness.
Yeah, Padua. Again, very nice going back to somewhere that we know. The Italians that, the Web Italy and David, lovely David, my biscuit man, as I call him, because he always gets my favorite biscuits from Italy. They just go all out to make it so much more than just 2 nights of gigs. And everything, and the weather was very much on our side as well, because obviously a large amount of what they do from the fan club side is out in the massive great big grounds of the venue there, so it totally lends itself to that. And a huge success. Padua is beautiful, absolutely, beautiful city to visit, and you've got so many other lovely places on your doorstep. Again, I stayed over and went to Vicenza and Verona, 2 places I'd never visited before.
Yeah.
And they were absolutely stunning. Can thoroughly recommend them. And then went back to Venice and had half a day in Venice as well. So
lovely. Sounds great. Well, the next city is one that you probably didn't stay over in because you've been there a lot, which is Leicester.
Leicester.
The
universe. It's actually quite an interesting town. There's a lot of history there with all the Richard II and is it Richard II or Richard III?
Third, yeah, Richard III. The body in the car park, yeah.
The body in the car park, yeah. It's a great museum.
Stole it from us. Stole it from your.
Yes. It's, that's a great museum.
Yeah.
Worth visiting. Again, a nice town, but the venue it is truly, truly, truly one of my favorite venues. From the staff that are there that are just absolutely,
they're brilliant, aren't they? They're really
they're
good.
just so good. They're so brilliant. Again, I have a lovely, great big merch area, which makes it a lot easier. And it's just such a historic venue, because, as you know, I'm a massive Genesis fan. So, it's that iconic album.
Live album, yeah.
Yeah, with your bass pedal solo from Michael Rutherford.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's a different one because for us as fans, with all the tribute bands that are on, I know they're not officially part of the weekend, but there were so many this time.
There were.
Who was it? Did them all? One of the guys that we've had on the pod did them all, didn't they?
I think people had planned to do them all, but I don't think everybody actually managed to successfully do everyone. One person did. Okay.
I guess it depends on how late they stayed up in the bar afterwards. So.
Well, we're usually getting kicked out of the bar at the De Montfort Hall, aren't we? We're usually there strugglers.
But again, the as you say, the staff in the De Montfort are great, and particularly the ones in the bar area. They have such a laugh with it, such good fun, and it's really good. And that area at the side, when the weather's nice, to come out onto the grass down the stairs there, it's wonderful. Really good. Really.
It is. It is. It holds a special place in my heart. It does. Because when I go through the list, when I'm telling people, especially if I'm telling people who don't really know very much about Marillion and whatever, and I go through the list of places I've been to, and then I come to Leicester, and they just go, "Oh," and I'm like, "Yeah, but don't. It might not sound so glamorous, but it's one of my favourites." So
it's our secret. We don't want everybody to know about it, do we? Keep it that way. And then on the 13th and 14th of June, Oslo.
Yes, again, somewhere new.
Yeah.
This was quite a challenge because we didn't have the merch in the venue. We had it at a bar next to the venue. So that was presented its own challenges. A beautiful bar, lovely, lovely amount of space, but it was getting that across to the fans to make sure that they knew it was there. So
who arranged that?
the Web Scandinavia,
Right.
again, our fan clubs are instrumental in all of these weekends, because they're they're the feet on the ground that are doing a lot of the preparation work, helping Lucy, helping myself, helping Rich with lots of information and errands, and we're very, very grateful to all of the work that they do. So yeah, so it was really a case of getting the message out, which I think they did really well, but I think it was something that was a bit alien to people, but we did very well. So
Do you have the band thought about doing that? Has Lucy thought about doing that on the UK tour? There's a number of, I mean, obviously Derek did the pop-ups on his tour.
yeah, I noticed that a lot of bands are doing that because of the dreaded concession fees.
Concession fees, yeah.
At almost every venue, which are just outrageous. Some of them are 25% plus VAT, which is just ridiculous. We don't go and ask the bar for a cut of the bar with the people that we bring into the venue. I honestly don't know, because we haven't we haven't got as far as discussing the UK tour yet. So, but it's definitely food for thought. It's something I've mentioned before.
Yeah.
So watch this space, I would say.
Okay. And then the last one of the summer or spring summer weekends was the Berlin weekend.
Again, it's quite an iconic venue in terms of its shape, and its facilities are great. I have lots of room, the staff are very efficient. So it's a very enjoyable one. And Berlin, wow, what a city. There's so much to see. So much to see. I feel like I could keep going back, and there's still more.
Hardly touch the surface, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's so interesting. It's very sobering, because obviously, it's all about the war and the Nazis, and it's a very stark reminder of things that are happening around the world that we really should be taking notice of, that there's so many similarities.
There's so many parallels, isn't there?
Yeah, that you would think that we'd learn already from this, but don't seem to have done. So it's but having said that, it's also a city of great architecture, and history aside from the war.
Yeah. Well, it's a historic city for the band as well, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And with the studios.
I think didn't Mark met some fans at Hansa, I think, didn't he? I believe.
Yeah, we were supposed to have some tours around them. Had been organised some tours to go around, but the person that was taking the tours unfortunately fell ill.
All right.
So they didn't happen, which was a shame. But certainly, I think that piece of pavement outside was quite well worn over the course of the weekend, of people paying homage to it. So it has a great window display, actually. With the way it changes, it is well worth visiting and just peering in the window. But yeah, no, it's there's many faceted city, Berlin.
Yeah.
Definitely. But yeah, going back to, it was very brutal between Oslo and Berlin, because we got back on the Sunday and then we flew out again on the Thursday, which is a lot, because the gear obviously went in the truck, so at least that didn't have to be unloaded back in to rack it and then loaded back on a truck to go out. So that happens every 10 days, if you like, when these weekends are 2 weekends apart. So it's a lot for the crew. It's a massive amount of work for Rich, who to me is the biggest unsung hero out of all these weekends. And in between all of that, he's still running Racket Records, So we're trying to catch up on orders. So, when we get back from these, we're shattered, but back in at Racket the next day, either to unload the truck or 2 days later to unload the truck, to catch up on all the orders, all the preparations going forward for the other weekends. I have to unload my cases and get all the next bits of merchandise preparation, for my merch kit, for displays, etc., all set up, ready to go again. So I try to, I've been trying to be a bit sustainable and reuse as many bits of the display as I can. So it's a very small drop in the ocean, but it's maybe one little less bit of plastic in the ocean. So
it's handier when everything's in euros, isn't it? Considering how many countries.
Well, basically, I took I realized a few years ago, take all the currencies off of the amounts that you put up and just put the number, and then I can just keep sticking them on with Velcro and just changing them over, and that works really well. That's very helpful to me. So. And at the end of Berlin, it was very nice. Again, I had a few days there. Nikki was over from America, so we stayed for a few days in Berlin just to have a proper look around the town. So I think the hardest thing with the switch to the 2-day weekends is that, you spend all of the first day setting up. So, you're at the venue at 10 o'clock in the morning and then you leave at, 1 o'clock in the morning. And then the next day you have a little bit of time to look around wherever you are. Then you go to the gig and then you've got to take it all down again. And when it was a 3-day thing, you had at least have that day in between to kind of decompress.
Yeah.
And to meet people and go out. But
yeah. And I would have said that you took advantage of the break, but you didn't, did you? Because you went and helped out at California, didn't you?
I did.
So that was in 26th to 28th of September.
Yes.
In lieu, but you were really hands-on, I understand.
I was exceptionally hands-on. So, bless the Haunted Woods guys. I absolutely take my hat off to them for organising a festival when it's something that they've never ever done before, on a beach in Cornwall at the end of September.
Yeah, that was a brave move.
It was a challenge, but I think it's the people that you have that gravitate towards you, the team that you surround yourself with makes so much difference. And they had an extraordinary team of people working with them, a large amount of volunteers, some volunteers from the town. I had a young lad called Ben, who was a 16-year-old lad who was so enthusiastic and an enormous help to me. So on the first day, with a lovely young lady called Olive, we ended up putting all of the black netting around the whole of the perimeter fence.
I remember seeing your pictures on Facebook of you doing
I mean, it literally took almost the whole day of just tying it around the scaffolding fences with cable ties. It was very, very hard manual labor. In fact, actually, I got a bit of tennis elbow from it afterwards. And then the rest of my weekend was artist liaison, so looking after all of the artists that were there, which again, proved a challenge because the area, the production offices and everything weren't actually down at the quay. They were in a car park that was on the other side of town. It was only a small town.
Right.
So there were lots of minibuses going backwards and forwards, and Rich, when he was driving the band and the crew down, because they stayed at the caravan park, you come in, you drive around the quay, and then you literally go down the ramp that the lifeboat goes down. So it's a massive camber. And he was just like, I didn't like driving down that. I completely tip over. And weather-wise, Friday was amazing. We were blessed with beautiful sunny weather on the Friday. And of course, at September, you'd imagine it gets quite chilly in the evening. So the temperature dropped quite a bit. It was a lovely clear evening. The band were on form, absolutely on form. And it was a great mix of artists over the whole weekend. Saturday was not as good as it should have been. It was okayish in the day, but as the day went on, the weather really did change. And by the end of the Saturday evening, it was It was grim. It was a storm that had not really been forecast.
Right.
And at one point we were a little bit scared that we were going to have to move the barriers in because
I heard there was some problems with the tide.
yeah, because the tide, the reason they book this festival at certain times, obviously they're reliant on the tides and where the sea actually comes in onto the beach. And it did actually come up to the perimeter fence, whereas it should have been a meter away. So it was just like, and it was really windy. And it was, yeah, I did feel sorry for Nick Mulvey, who was the artist that was on it. So, but there, the diehard fans stayed to watch, which was great. And then Sunday,
friends that were there, they had a great weekend.
Yeah,
and they've already booked for this year, so
that's lovely.
And it's earlier this year, isn't it? Yeah,
it's earlier this year. Partly because of the tides and because a certain band that are organising it are going to be on the road with Marillion.
Yeah.
Which I'm very much looking forward to.
Well, I was going to ask you about that. Obviously, you must be chuffed that they've got the support.
I'm so thrilled for them. Absolutely thrilled for them, and it was a band decision, which is lovely. People might think I have undue influence there, and that's not the case at all. There's always suggestions put forward, and I'm thrilled that they're going to get that exposure to a wider audience. A lot of people said, "Oh, I want the Woods again," but not everybody goes to the weekends. Not everyone was privileged to go to Port Zeland to see them. There's only 3,000 people there. And not everyone was at Leicester 2 years ago. So
I think it's going to go down really well again. I mean,
so it's a much wider audience, and it gets their name out there a lot more. So I'm utterly thrilled for them. Of course, I'm utterly thrilled for me as well. So,
I mean, once you'd finished packing, I mean, Warner's just decided to drop some picture discs as well during that gap, didn't they? So the first couple of picture discs were at Racket. You were shipping those out.
Yeah, it wasn't like it was just normal orders that were going out. We had some big releases going out in there, and it's a major logistical thing for Rich to work out. We have to work out when it's all going to be delivered. When are we going to be there for it to be delivered so that we're then there to actually be able to pack it and have enough people there to pack it, because we always get people in to help if it's a really big release. And ordering all the packaging for it, and then making sure that we're there once we've packed it. There's enough time for then the Royal Mail to come and pick it up, and the bigger packages as well. They all have to go out DHL, which is much more involved. He has so much to deal with. He really does, and I don't think people know the half of it.
No.
Yeah, because I mean, there's been, apart from the Warner's picture discs, there's been some new Racket vinyls and everything as well.
So it remains. Piss Up in a Brewery, Afraid of Sunlight, Singles Night.
Yeah, and the other remains, 5 of them.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I mean, fantastic as a fan, just more work for you guys. But
keeps you in a job, though, doesn't it? It helps.
It does. I have to say, apart from Cone of Thorn, it was very quiet. After I came back from Berlin, I went on holiday, I celebrated a big birthday, and then went on holiday. And it was a bit quiet after that, actually. So
until the end of the year.
Sorry?
Till the end of the year it was, wasn't it?
Well, to the end, actually. Well, it was in between, before I'll come to Utrecht in a minute. I did a little bit more of my side gig, which is being a supporting artist, otherwise known as an extra, in various productions. So I had the opportunity to do 3 lots of filming, which I can't tell you because they're under NDA, but they should be out in the
what was it?
Next year, I think.
There was something that you were in last.
Yeah, so back in March 2024, because the lead time on these is sometimes very long. And this one particularly because it was resting on the results of the court case, the final piece of the jigsaw with Prince Harry. And I had an absolutely amazing time working as a Guardian journalist on The Hack, that was an ITV series. So I spent 3 weeks filming, which is very unusual to get a big block of filming like that as an extra. So every day I set off for work at some ungodly hour of the morning, because my call time was often, like 6:30 in the morning, sometimes earlier, 6 o'clock. So you have to go through hair and makeup. And yeah, and I worked in fact, at the end of it, it was really funny because when I was doing I kept waking up thinking, I've got to go to work. And I'm like, no, I'm not actually a Guardian journalist. I'm doing it to go to work today. But it was a wonderful, all of the filming experiences are great. But it was a wonderful thing to be a part of, because David Tennant,
Your 10th Doctor.
my doctor. And Toby Jones, it was an astonishing cast.
Yeah, it was a great series, it really was.
And the things that you don't see as well is the attention to detail on the set. So everything on the set was vintage IMAX and for mobile phones. Even the Freddo frog that was on my desk was of the right era, with 10p on it, because it's now like 50p for something ridiculous for a Freddo frog. And it was all it was all moved around. The props people move everything around every day. There was stacks of period newspapers for the time. It's crazy, when I watch it back on the television to find the glimpses of me, and I was in it quite a lot, which I was utterly thrilled about. You wouldn't notice any of those props.
No.
Yeah.
But the attention to detail is brilliant, isn't it?
It's crazy, absolutely crazy. And obviously all the clothes that we wore had to have been appropriate, and the hair and everything. So it was a wonderful, wonderful experience. So, and equally, the filming that I've done this year, it has been great because it's on two of my favorite TV programs. So,
well, when you can tell us, we'll tell the listeners.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, one of them isn't one of the ones that you probably want to do across in Canada and be in Star Trek, but there's still chance next time.
They don't film that over here, sadly. So,
mind you never know the next film. The next film could, it could, because depends on the tax breaks.
The ironic thing is we have Leavesden Studios is literally it's 7 minutes from my door if the lights are green. I never ever get called for any jobs at Leavesden, and that's where they've been filming a lot of the
Harry Potter series, the new TV show.
Yeah, the Harry Potter, but because my daughter used to be an interactor at the Harry Potter studios quite a few years ago before she went off to uni. The game of House of Dragon, that's it.
Oh yeah.
That film. And as you drive into Watford, you can see a lot of the sets, and they often have signposts on the road saying beware fog, because they've
well, you have got a family connection to the first episode of season 1 of House of the Dragon, though, don't you?
Oh, I do, yes. And my husband has also done extras work, and he was at the big funeral scene in episode 1 of House of Dragon. So he was also in the first episode of The Diplomat at the funeral there. And then I was in the first episode of season 2 at the funeral that was in St. Paul's Cathedral. So he's done a lot more work than I have. So he's got the distinguished sort of salt and pepper hair. So he's more in demand than I am.
I do like The Diplomat. It's a good show on Netflix. Yeah.
It's a great show. The last series was awesome. I was a bit disappointed not to have got called for that. So
it's so bingeable, isn't it? It really is.
Completely. It's so competitive, the world of extras out there, and it's just a case of whether your face fits and whether they're whether the casting directors they get a whole raft of.
Are you with an agency then?
Yeah, I'm with an agency, and they just send off a whole load of pictures, and it's just a case of whether the director thinks your face fits or not. So
let's talk about something we can talk about then. The final Marillion weekend of 2020.
That snuck up on me, really, because in my head the weekends were done,
Yeah.
Like, oh, there's another one to do. What do I need to do? How do I do this? What have I got to do? But it was great because in a way there was no pressure, because could just get all my spreadsheets ready, merch is all ordered. And it was in Holland, so we knew it would arrive, which
Yeah.
takes the pressure off as well.
And it was back to an extended weekend as well.
Yeah, definitely, which again gives you that time. And it's in a beautiful venue,
Oh,
Hey.
it's lovely. Isn't it?
stunning venue where the staff are so switched on and helpful, and that makes all the difference, really. And Utrecht again is a beautiful city, so
Yeah.
and
I,
it
mean, I,
it was all Christmassy and lovely as well. So it puts a different perspective on a weekend.
yeah, I mean it was strange doing it at that time of year, but it felt great. I saw how involved the Web Holland were with things, doing sort of the charity stall and interviewing the band. There was a lot of activity for Web Holland, which I did
They
see.
were amazing.
They were brilliant. They were brilliant. But yeah, the venue is great.
One of the great things that they did was that seemed very popular was the Marillion Mission that a couple of the fans and the fan club had put together that was like a charity treasure hunt, if you like.
Yeah.
No, I thought that was an incredible idea. So
I think there was a lot of work went into that, wasn't there?
a lot of work, definitely. And again, that's the other thing that the fan clubs have done so much with the charities, and the fans that have also contributed old t-shirts or the lovely craft bits that they've put together to sell on, and everyone's been so generous with their time and their donations to the charity in terms of the goods for people to buy, but also the people going and spending €1 or 100, whatever, on supporting the causes. It's it just gives you that real, that
rosy glow.
Yeah, sorry, I haven't got the word. The brain fog from the alcohol's kicking in here. I haven't quite got the word. But yeah, it's really wholesome, and it to see that generosity and that lovely spirit.
And it was a great weekend, and I think the was it Sunday night particularly was an amazing, and they were all great gigs, but Sunday was particularly on the money, and the band really felt that as well.
Definitely. It's a funny venue, actually. I've got a tracker watch, and at the end of the day I looked at it and I had walked, was it 8 miles or was it 11 miles, and I hadn't left the venue. It's one of these, a bit like Albert Hall, you go down all these different, it's got different levels, and you come out the lift and you're like, where am I? And of course you end up walking the wrong way round to be where you actually, if you'd just gone the short way, if you turn left you would need where you were, rather than walking all the way round. So yeah, I got my step count in for sure.
Another brilliant weekend. How did you feel about Port Zealand being announced? I mean, you knew obviously, but
I've known for quite a while,
how did you
actually.
feel about that?
And actually, Lucy and I were the only ones that knew for quite some time, so it was a big secret to keep. And yeah, I was thrilled to see such a response, and to be able to announce it like that was wonderful.
Port Craig,
we'll not talk about that.
Port Craig on that, because I was in the venue. We'd obviously got an announcement recorded with Lucy that was going to go
because we
1st of January.
Yeah, because she contacted us as soon as she'd found out that it was confirmed, and she wanted to record an episode. So I said, right, we'll do that. We'll hold on to it. And we said when we're going to announce it, she says, right, we'll hold on to it till January the 1st, and then she changed her mind. So it was quick, get the episode out quick.
Yeah.
I just live streamed her announcing it to Craig. We just had to get on and do it. But everybody's so pleased.
Oh yeah, so excited.
I'm utterly thrilled to be going back. It's just wonderful, and it gives me something to do this year as well. So
will you be doing merch for the tours?
No, so the lovely Richard Nagy will be doing the tour, and I shall be around pretty much at most of those gigs on the UK tour because lovely Nikki's coming over from America. So I'm going to be doing a bit of a road trip with her and Mike and obviously getting to see Haunt the Woods as well. And I think for the last few of those, I'll probably be traveling around with Haunt the Woods at the end of it. So yes, no, I won't be doing the merch for that, but you'll have the wonderful, wonderful Richard to look after you. And I have to say before I forget as well, all of these weekends where, I thank the team that helped me at PZ, particularly the Centre Park staff as well, who, the wonderful Dolly and Ariane and Miriam, who just make it so much easier for me. But at the other weekends when I'm doing the merch, my core merch team are just the most wonderful people, dear friends. So it's Nikki Arel, comes over from America, Rita Drew, who comes over from America as well to help me, Mike Hudson, who was all of them, I say my logistics man. Richard was at most of them apart from Montreal. Malcolm Harris, who comes all the way from Australia.
Yeah.
And again, he couldn't make all of them because there's only so much leave that he can get from work to come over. So it's always sad when he can't make it for some of them. Have I forgotten anybody? In Montreal, my lovely expat friends, Ian, Craig and Erica. Yeah, they're all wonderful people who I really can't thank enough for the help.
You just reminded me, I don't know what triggered it. That was it Sean that got that award at Utrecht?
Yes, yeah, it was his 200th consecutive gig.
Yeah, he's not missed a gig in 200 gigs.
That's
amazing.
I know. And I really don't know what the total of gigs that he's been to is because, he's been going forever. So unfortunately, I'm hoping he's feeling better because he had a fall and he broke his foot or his leg. So hopefully he's healing well.
Yeah, but that's incredible. That's incredible amount of gigs to do. Did you, I mean, on a slightly different take, did you get to the IQ Christmas gig this year?
I did.
Yeah,
I did. Mike and his ever expanding.
Yes. Yeah. No, I heard they were particularly impressive this year.
It was a really, really great gig. It isn't Christmas without an IQ Christmas gig in my books. So yeah, and it was at the Islington Assembly Hall, which is a wonderful venue because it's got really, really high stage.
Yeah.
So wherever you stand, you can see. It's got a great sprung floor as well, so that's a lot kinder on your back and your feet.
I shall do the northern version of the Christmas gig in Bury in a couple of weeks' time.
Yes, yeah. See, I never get to go to those ones.
No.
So did you get a chance to get to any other gigs this year? Because since obviously you've been busy, but I know you like to be your gig social butterfly.
All right, somewhere or other in between all of them, I did actually go and see quite a few people. And now I've got to try and remember because my memory is absolutely shocking.
You did some Bastille stuff, didn't you?
Oh, I did. I saw Bastille quite a few times. They are my happy go-to band. And there's a lot more to Bastille than Pompeii that I think they have a much wider appeal if people actually knew, and to be honest, all of their albums have been concept albums. So
I've seen them twice. They're really good.
they're so good. They're so good. That's a whole nother subject I could go on for hours. I saw my beloved Nothing But Thieves. So that was a thrill. Magnum, when it was the tribute gig.
Oh yeah.
It departed Tony Clark, and that was such a big loss. That was quite an emotional gig, really.
Where was that?
That was at the Forum.
Right.
Yeah, the O2 Kentish Town, whatever they call it nowadays.
Yeah.
Just trying to think who else did I go and see? Oh, looking through my diary here.
Mr. Wilson?
Did a lot. Yeah, Mr. Wilson. I did a lot of the two other things I like. I love musical theatre. So I was really thrilled to go and see Hadestown again because it had the original cast from the UK, which I'd seen in the UK and on Broadway as well. So they came back. So that was just amazing to see the original cast. It was a very short run with those in. And Mr. Hunter and I, every year, usually round about Valentine's night, and this year is no exception, we go to Sadler's Wells to see, I would say, not quite ballet, it's probably more contemporary dance. And there's a choreographer, a German choreographer called Pina Bausch, who does the most amazing pieces of dance. It's bonkers ballet, as I call it. It's
I love it.
have a look because there's quite a bit on YouTube. And I first discovered it when the band were at Real World, and I was very lucky to go down to Real World, which was a big thrill for me. And there's a big screen that comes down over the mixing desk at Real World. And I came in and I was looking down, and Mike had it up on the screen, and I'm just like, that is utterly extraordinary dance. And so every year when the company comes over, and we were lucky, we have two this year, one in February and one in March or April. But we get to go, so that's coming up soon, which is really, really good. Really looking forward to that. Gosh, who else? So many people. Not as many bands as I'd have liked to have seen. I think a lot of them are writing at the moment. They're in that same sort of cycle of writing and just doing festivals, and obviously there were some clashes as well. That there were a lot of gigs, a few gigs I'd like to have seen, but I was away. As you said, Mr. Wilson.
What did you make of the Wilson shows?
It was a show of two halves for sure.
Yes, yeah.
And quite different, and certainly, the run through the album was the right thing to do because it is a piece in itself.
Yeah.
But the second half was quite a deep dive back into the whole. Well, it was Porcupine Tree, wasn't it? Wasn't
Some of it was, yeah.
So it was a deep dive back into the history there. So yeah, it was good. It was good. Actually, quite a few of the gigs that I went to there, because there were new albums coming out. I don't particularly like the big stadium gigs, especially if it's the O2, because it's just the most soulless venue in the world. But we're very fortunate in that Banquet Records in Kingston puts on a lot of in-store, outstores.
Yeah.
At a venue it used to be called Prism.
We went to Prism once, a couple of times to see Frost, actually, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's now called Circuit, and it's so much better because Ian Bond came in and flew the speaker stacks. So the speaker stacks were perched on the edge of the stage, which actually is a great intimate venue, but it cut out a lot of the view of the band on the stage. Whereas now you have the most amazing view wherever you are, and I think maybe it's about 500 people in these venues. So it was great to see him. So I saw Counting Crows. I saw the wonderful CMAT. I absolutely adore CMAT. She's just bonkers as well.
Hey, isn't she? Yeah.
So I saw her there as well as at Brixton Academy. I saw Bastille in Dreamland at Margate. Again, that's a great place for a gig as well, especially obviously if the sun's shining.
Yeah.
So yeah, it quite varied. Probably not really that much prog and a lot more. So Wolf Alice.
Yeah.
Up in Birmingham again, up to the Utilita because it's much nicer than going to the O2. But again, I saw them at Circuit as well, so that was great. I literally got a last minute ticket for that on Twickets, which was a bit of a shock actually because it was 5 to 6, and I'm just like, I need to go now.
I need to get out the door.
Put my shoes on and run out the door. Went to see Haim with my daughter. Again, that was at Dreamland. Oh, actually, Bastille, I think, were the previous year at Dreamland. God, who else? Solstice, again.
Yeah, okay.
Going back to the prog. I mean, so many times I saw them back at the Marquee, and they've evolved into the most spectacular band. Jess's vocals, Andy's guitars, the violin, the whole ensemble.
It's
It's
incredibly uplifting, Solstice, isn't it?
so completely, you can't come out of that gig without a great big smile on your face. It's just like a whole, being wrapped in a whole amount of joy for and I'm so thrilled for them because they've worked really hard. Yeah, that was great. That was I also went to something else as well that was a big thrill. So it was the Greatest Gathering, which was not of bands.
Train thing, yes.
Trains.
Yes, there's the 250th anniversary, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it's 100,
no.
yes, 200 years of the railway.
200 years, yeah.
And there were 150 different engines all collected in Derby. So from the Flying Scotsman, Sir Nigel Gresley, the classic steam engines, diesels, everything. It was an amazing day. There weren't enough hours in the day actually to see everything that was there. It was, you've got to go up in the cabs, you've got to go. There was like a test train. They run along the test track. That was a great thrill. And the other big thing I got to do was I got to drive a Class 73 diesel, big thrashing diesel train along the East Kent Railway. It was literally like a 5-minute ride, up to about 30 miles an hour. But I mean, it's a big train to be completely in control of yourself. And these are the trains, to give you an idea of scale, these are the trains that used to rescue Eurostars if they broke down.
All right.
That was an amazing experience. So.
Yeah, I know a few years ago we went up to this
biggest grin that Stephanie's had during this whole hour.
Well, we went up the Stevenson Railway in North Tyneside a couple of years ago, me and my mate Ralph, and he got to drive. Was it an O8 Shunter? He was like a kid at the sweet shop.
Yeah, I did that last year actually. My family organised that for me, and it was great. We did up in the signal box, did all the signals, did all the coupling, did the signalling with the flags, put the brake van on it. Oh, that was fabulous. And I'm just seeing all the bands. That was actually September was quite a good one. I went to see there's a great band called Flight. I saw them in Brighton and before Christmas as well. Very sort of folky, indie, deep, meaningful lyrics. And Will, who's the lead singer of Flight, or there's two singers, his partner is Billy Martin.
All right.
I also saw supporting Elbow because I went to see Elbow in York. So getting around the country, went to see the amazing Ivor from the Faroe Islands with the most extraordinary voice.
Yes, Graham, our friend,
He's a big fan.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, he's been at one of the gigs with me. That was wonderful. Went to see Black Sabbath, the ballet as well.
Okay.
Again, I saw that back at Sadler's, and this time I went with Tim and Mike Hunter. We went to see it in Birmingham, and Tony Iommi came out in the show playing guitar as well. So that was definitely something. It's some quite extraordinary gigs, really. Oh, and a new band that I had discovered, Exploring Birdsong.
Oh yes, yeah.
She has the most amazing voice. That was a wonderful gig at St Pancras Church. Yeah, definitely.
I shall have to listen to them.
Yeah, definitely. I think they're a three-piece, and rather than having a guitar, really, her voice is almost the guitar solos. It's Yeah, absolutely loved it. Took my son to see the Australian Pink Floyd, so that was really good. And I think that was it. Yeah,
That's a pretty packed year, Steph.
yeah, pretty varied as well.
Yeah,
So
pretty varied and pretty packed. If 2026 is half as good as that, you'll still have an amazing year, won't you?
definitely.
And we haven't mentioned Pompeii. Presumably you're coming to Pompeii.
I'm high about that. That's
Sorry?
just, I just can't, you know. So we were there for when the lovely Darren and Lizzie got married back in 2024.
No, 24, yeah.
Yeah, 2020. I have to get
Into 24, yeah.
the start of a new year. You always forget what the year was before. But they got married down in Sorrento, and quite a few of us that were there went to Pompeii to visit Pompeii. We all looked at. There's a big exhibition underneath.
The Pink Floyd with the
Yeah,
stuff, yeah.
of the Pink Floyd, and we were all looking at each other going, "Oh, wouldn't it be amazing, if Marillion could play here?" I don't think it crossed any of our minds that that would actually happen, and it's happening, and not even once, but twice.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that I'm hugely, hugely excited about that. So,
It's going to be amazing, isn't it?
and I think we won't be selling any merchandise there, but we'll be selling it beforehand. So keep your eyes peeled on Racket.
Yeah.
We want the togas.
You have a little, little leaf crown, little coronet as well.
As well.
I think we need the Frankie Howard, like Frankie Says t-shirts.
But
Titty not.
yes, I mean, from the band's point of view, a tremendously successful series of weekends, and
Yeah.
Although this is my job, it's my utter joy to get to see the band play in all these places, and what's not to love? They just pull out these extraordinary performances, and it's so hard to choose. I don't think I could pick, what's the best, because they're all just so good, and sometimes quite different. Different songs leap out at you at different weekends, and then they've got this wonderful year to look forward to, touring Europe, touring the UK, and
Maybe a new record.
wow. When I'm at Racket and I'm in the kitchen, I get to hear little snippets of things that are going on, and there's definitely new music.
Oh, good. Well, that's good. It's not a room.
Definitely new music, so it's all very exciting.
Well, look, thank you very much for spending an hour with us talking about this. You've had an amazing year. Everybody is so grateful for what you do, and you clearly love what you do. But we're grateful for your friendship as well, because to see your face light up when you're talking about these things is just brilliant.
No, thank you. Well, in amongst all of this are all the people like you that I have met, who've become very dear friends that have made such a big difference to my life. And for that, I'm eternally grateful.
What can you say?
We love you, you know we do.
Yeah, you know that. Well, I can't follow that. I just want to thank Stephanie for being here.
Totally my pleasure.
And we'll get you back on again if you're up for that. All that remains to be said is it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him.
Take care.
And stay alive.
Yay!
Thanks for listening to Planet Marzipan Podcast. Please like and subscribe from whichever platform you get your podcasts from. You can contact us at planetmarzipanpodcast@gmail.com, and check out marillion.com, fishmusic.scot for all the good stuff.